You have a lot of good perspective on guilt and giving an attachment to stuff, but I want you to kind of give some background. You recently went through something I couldn't even fathom, and I'd like you to tell the story about your daughter Bella, and I believe this will make sense in a lot of ways. But Tim's he's a real dear friend of mine, and he's also taught me a lot, and hopefully, you know, in the many years that we've known each other, about 8 years or so, I think. You know, we've been through a lot of challenges together. And I had a conversation with you the other day about, you know, just people just feeling guilty about stuff they just hold on to, and a lot of shame-based sort of stuff. And what my read on it, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, did you guys hear several times, I really like doing it, but I feel bad about it, okay? And, but anyway, a couple reasons. I want people to actually hear your story about Bella, and hopefully they will pursue reading the blog and helping you with your cause, and also just any perspective you have from listening to her, because I think you're really good at coaching people.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. And hi, we haven't met. I'm Tim.
Sherry.
Sherry, nice to meet you. Sorry for reaching over you there. Hi, everybody. I'm Tim, and one real quick thing, it's kind of funny. I'm wearing some really obnoxious socks that I want to show off. And what's funny about that is that these are supposed to be like 20-hole boots, and there's a story behind why I'm wearing them. My daughter Bella passed away on October 11th of 2010. She was 17 months old. She had a rare, very rare, fatal skin disease. We were part of an experiment at the University of Minnesota to find a cure for this disease, and it worked, except the side effects of the treatment killed her. She spent 99 days in intensive care, and I was her caregiver. Now, in the intensive care, a baby doesn't wear any clothing. They're just naked to the elements except for a diaper. But we would dress her in wild socks, because that's the only piece of clothes you could put on a baby in the intensive care unit. So we used to call them Bella's fabulous socks of the day. And we have a shoebox full of crazy socks, right? And so now I wear crazy socks. No matter how sharp I'm looking up top, I'm looking crazy underneath. And Murphy's Law, Joe's got me up here on this bar stool, and I can't hide my crazy socks. So as he's saying, you're going to sit up here, I'm like, oh, the socks. They're going to be so distracting. So sorry, I had to talk about the socks just so you'd all be like, what's up with the socks? If they're set. Okay, enough about the socks. You're welcome. There's so much I can share, and I want the time that I have to be as powerful and focused as possible. Who hands you guilt? Are you sure? I'm just checking. I agree. You do. But I just wanted to see. Everything else is just story, where it comes from. I'm going to use this microphone. I'm going to talk. Let me use your mic really quickly. Guilt. Okay. This time, don't take it. Guilt. Don't take it. Are you coachable? Come on. Got to follow. All right. Example number one. Take the mic. Guilt. Who has the guilt? Great. Guilt. Who has the guilt? Does he have the guilt? Did I try to give him the guilt? Who has the guilt? Does he have the guilt? Did I try to give him the guilt? Who has the guilt? Does he have the guilt?
No.
Who gives you the guilt? You do. How do I know, why am I really clear? Thank you, about guilt. I signed a consent form to poison my daughter with chemotherapy, clinically, to bring her within an inch of her life to try to save her. And it was the chemotherapy that killed my daughter. I signed that paper. I don't have any guilt. Signing the paper doesn't cause guilt. Does that make sense? A similar piece of it, some of you heard me share this distinction in November. There's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is a signal that your body sends. Suffering is the story you make up about the signal. It's the drama that you feed yourself, the interpretation. Take two. Suffering is the interpretation you make up about the pain. I am still in a lot of pain, but I'm not suffering. I have no guilt, and I'm not suffering. Why? Who gives me the guilt? I do. Why would I do that? I have the pain of watching my daughter die slowly in a hospital room. That's enough for me. That's quite enough for me. I don't need any of the rest of it. So now examine for yourself that conversation inside of what's important to you. Because that conversation isn't specific to what I just went through. That conversation's about life. Who gives you the guilt? So don't do it. Don't do it. Be okay. Be okay. Now, what am I doing in the meantime? Well, the procedure worked. See, my daughter wasn't growing skin on her body properly. So we did a bone marrow transplant where we harvested my other daughter's bone marrow from her and gave it to my little daughter. She started growing her sister's skin on her body. In the history of bone marrow transplants, this has never happened. The University of Minnesota pioneered bone marrow transplants in the 1950s. They've done over 500,000 bone marrow transplants. 500,000 kids they've saved. They've never done it where they've asked stem cells to leave the blood supply and just go out to the body and heal another organ. The stem cells know how. What they don't know is which stem cells are getting the signal and going out. And that's where I come in. Talk about unique ability. What's my unique ability? Speaking, writing, connecting. Can you get that in the 5 minutes I've been on stage? Yeah, I know that about myself, and I'm grateful through all of the training from Joe and from Dan to know that's my unique ability. What am I incompetent at? Research. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to do the research. I hate research. I'm a music therapist. I hate research. I'm a great clinician, but I hate research. So this stuff, Dr. Wagner, Dr. Tolar, they're in charge. This piece right here, I told them, how long does it take you to write a grant? They said 6 weeks full time. These are the two smartest men in the world at what they do, and they have to leave here and go here for 6 full weeks to write a single grant application. That is not smart business, right? Would you get out of your truck for 6 weeks and do something that's not even your unique ability? Would that be good business? No, but doctors do it all the time because they think they have to do the fundraising too. I said, stop. I'll handle that for you. So now I have promoted myself. Okay, Bond, you'll appreciate this. I am part of an elite team responsible for curing incurable diseases. And I manage the fundraising for them so that I keep those doctors in the clinic, in the lab, and on the units in the hospital. That's who I am. No guilt. Because if I was wrapped up in guilt, would that possibility be present for me? I don't know if I'd be able to get out of bed if I was feeling guilty over killing my daughter. I don't know about you. That sounds a little dramatic and significant, but that's a very different context, isn't it? Okay? Who gives you the guilt? Don't do it. Does that contribute?
Yes. Very much. Thank you. Thanks, man. Thank you. Oh, Tim, your book. Where do people get your book if people want to read it? I think everyone would be, I think you would find Tim's right. Tim has done a lot of stuff, and one of the things that he's done, he's been around, he's played a lot of music to people while they're dying. He's a music therapist, and he's done a lot of work in hospice centers playing music. He's a music therapist, and he's very, very skilled guy. Where do people find out more information about you? And
2 places. If you, bellasblessings.com, B-E-L-L-A-S, blessings. Oh, thanks. That takes you to my blog that's followed around the world by people who have been following, wanting a cure for this disease. And then if you're inspired and you want to be a part of the solution and help us find this stem cell, go to puckfund.org, like hockey puck, puckfund.org, and make a donation in honor of Bella. I've pledged to raise $3 million by Bella's 2nd birthday. We're having a big birthday bash for her on May 21st in Orange County at South Coast Plaza. And I'm flying Dr. Tolar and Wagner out, and I'm handing them a big, fat cardboard check for $3 million. And I don't know where it's going to come from yet, but I know it's going to come. So if you want to be a part of that, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.